My sister's stepdaughter told her friends that my husband had exposed himself to her in our bathroom during a family event. If true, that kind of behavior could lead to consequences in juvenile detention. I need to share what happened at last month's family gathering. My husband, 32, and I, 28, have been married for 3 years. We live in a small house about 20 minutes from my parents' home and from most of my extended family. My sister, 35, married Rowan, 38, 2 years ago. Rowan brought along his 16-year-old daughter, Ursula, from his previous marriage. Ursula's biological mother lives in another state and sees her maybe twice a year. When Rowan and my sister got together, our whole family made a great effort to welcome Ursula. My parents invited her to every party, my mom bought her birthday presents and little things like that. I added her to the cousins group chat and made sure she had someone to talk to at family events. At first, she seemed to appreciate these efforts. She hugged my parents goodbye and thanked them for dinner. She helped my mom in the kitchen during parties, and played board games with my younger cousins at gatherings. Rowan was grateful for how we had welcomed his daughter. He told my sister several times how lucky he felt to have married into our family. My nephew Axel, 15, is my sister's son from her first marriage. He and Ursula went to the same high school and seemed to get along. Axel is quiet but has always been very close to our side of the family. He spends alternating weekends at my parents' house and considers it a second home. Last month, we hosted a birthday party for my dad at our house. About 15 family members came for a barbecue. In the afternoon, my husband spent most of the day cooking in the backyard and playing catch with the little kids. Ursula sat quietly at the kitchen table with her phone almost the entire time. She spoke when someone addressed her, but overall kept to herself. Our house has 2 bathrooms. The main one is in the hallway next to the living room, and the other is in our master bedroom. During parties, guests always use the hallway bathroom because the master bedroom is off limits. My husband and I keep that door closed during gatherings. Ursula ate with everyone and said thank you when she left with my sister and Rowan. My husband and I cleaned up afterward and commented on how nice it had been to have everyone over. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary or concerning. 3 days later, Axel showed up at our door around 4 p.m. He looked pale and kept fidgeting nervously. He asked if he could come in to talk. I brought him to the living room and offered him something to drink. Axel sat on the edge of the couch, staring at his hands. He said he had heard something at school that he needed to tell me. Some of Ursula's friends had been talking about what happened at our party. According to Axel, Ursula told them that my husband had walked into the bathroom while she was using it and exposed himself to her. The accusation was so ridiculous that my first reaction was confusion, not anger. I asked Axel to repeat exactly what he had heard. He said Ursula claimed she was in the bathroom when my husband opened the door without knocking, stood there for several seconds, and then exposed himself to her. The logistics of her story didn't make sense. All day, guests had used the hallway bathroom, which has a lock on the inside. My husband had spent almost the entire party outside grilling and supervising the kids. When he came inside, it was only to refill drinks or grab more food from the kitchen. He never went near the hallway where the bathrooms are. I called my husband immediately after Axel left. His reaction was total shock. He asked me twice to repeat what Axel had said because he couldn't believe someone would invent such a serious accusation. We spent an hour going over every detail of the party. We tried to find a moment when this could have happened, but there was none. That night, I called my parents and asked them to meet with my sister, Rowan, and Ursula the next day. I didn't explain the reason over the phone because I wanted to address it face to face with everyone present. My parents agreed to host the meeting at their place. The following afternoon, we gathered in my parents' living room. Ursula sat between my sister and Rowan on the couch. She looked nervous and kept glancing at the door as if she wanted to leave. My parents were in their usual chairs, and my husband and I took the small couch facing Ursula. I looked directly at her and told her that Axel had shared an interesting story about what she had been telling her friends at school. I asked her to repeat it for everyone present. Ursula turned red and began stammering, saying she didn't know what I was talking about. I told her that, according to her version, my husband had entered the bathroom where she was and exposed himself. The room went completely silent. My sister's mouth fell open in surprise. Rowan looked back and forth between me and Ursula as if he were trying to solve a puzzle. Ursula began to cry and said she never wanted anyone to take it seriously. She explained that her friends at school often talked about inappropriate encounters with older men, and she felt left out of those conversations. She admitted she had made up the story so she could fit in with what her friends were talking about. The reason she gave for destroying my husband's reputation was that she wanted to seem more mature and experienced in front of her teenage friends. She said she had chosen my husband because he was the most recent adult man she had been around. She claimed she never thought the story would spread beyond her friend group. I stood up from the small couch and looked at Ursula as she cried with her face in her hands. I told her she was a liar and that this was not a game. She could have ruined the life of an innocent man. I said that false accusations like hers send innocent men to prison and destroy families. I told her she had put my husband's career and our future together at risk just to impress her friends. I turned to my sister and Rowan and said that my husband and I would never again be in the same room as Ursula. I made it clear this was not a punishment that would end in a few months or years, it was permanent. I told them that Ursula was banned from our home and from any event we hosted or attended, and that if she was at any event we went to, we would leave. Rowan started to say something about Ursula being just a teenager who had made a mistake. I cut him off and said that at 16, she fully understood the difference between truth and lies. I told them that anyone who could invent a sexual assault accusation could not be trusted anywhere near my family. My sister tried to argue that Ursula had confessed and apologized. I responded that an apology does not erase the damage of spreading lies about sexual assault. I told her that Ursula had shown her true character and that we would not give her another chance to harm us. My parents listened to the entire conversation without saying much. After I finished speaking, my dad told Rowan and my sister that Ursula would no longer be welcome at family gatherings in their home. He said they could not have someone under their roof who would lie about something so serious. The meeting ended with Rowan, my sister, and Ursula leaving in tears. My husband and I drove back home in silence. The next day, my sister called me to tell me that Ursula would be moving back to live with her biological mother in another state. She said that Rowan had decided the situation was too damaging to his marriage and to his family's stability. Axel later told me that Ursula's friends at school found out she had lied, and most of them stopped talking to her once they knew the truth. I know some people might think I reacted too harshly to a teenager's lie, but false sexual assault accusations are not jokes or simple mistakes. They destroy lives and reputations. Ursula knew exactly what she was doing when she spread that story. She made a calculated choice to sacrifice my husband's reputation for her own social status. My husband and I have moved on with our lives. We are planning to start a family next year and buy a bigger house. We have the full support of my parents and of Axel, who saw firsthand how cruel Ursula could be. Our marriage survived this challenge because we faced it together and refused to let a liar divide us. Update 1. I've received several messages asking for an update, so here's what has happened since my original post. Ursula moved back into her mother's house 2 days after our family meeting. Rowan drove her there himself and spent a week helping her settle in. My sister stayed home with Axel during that time. The first week after Ursula left was quiet. My sister avoided calling me, and Rowan did not attend the Sunday family dinner at my parents' house like he usually did. Then my sister called me with news that changed everything. She said that Rowan had been having phone conversations with Ursula every night since she moved. During one of those calls, Ursula admitted that the lie about my husband had not been her first false accusation. According to what my sister told me, Ursula confessed to Rowan that she had made similar claims about a teacher at her old school. That accusation had contributed to her moving in with Rowan and my sister in the first place. Ursula's mother had pulled her out of that school and sent her to live with Rowan because the situation had become too complicated. Rowan had never known the real reason why Ursula came to live with them. Her mother had only told him that she needed a change of environment and would benefit from living with her father. Rowan assumed it was typical teenage rebellion or difficulty adjusting after the divorce. When Rowan called Ursula's mother to confirm this information, she admitted that Ursula had accused a teacher of inappropriate behavior. The school investigated and found no evidence to support Ursula's claims. Other students contradicted her version of events, and the teacher was cleared of any wrongdoing. But the accusation caused so much drama that Ursula's mother decided to send her away. My sister said that Rowan was devastated when he learned this was normal behavior for Ursula. He acknowledged that our family had been completely right to cut ties with her. This revelation completely changed Rowan's perspective. Instead of seeing Ursula as a confused teenager who had made a bad choice, he now saw her as someone with a serious problem, one that could harm innocent people. He told my sister he felt guilty for not having better protected our family. The news about Ursula's history also explained some things that had never made sense before. Rowan mentioned that Ursula's mother had seemed unusually eager for Ursula to live with him permanently. At the time, Rowan thought it was because her mother wanted to focus on her new relationship. Now, he realized she had probably been relieved to have Ursula become someone else's responsibility. Rowan decided to limit contact with Ursula after learning about her pattern of false accusations. He still provides her with financial support and calls her once a week, but he no longer plans to visit her or bring her back for holidays. He told my sister that he needed to prioritize his marriage and Axel's safety. This decision created conflict between Rowan and Ursula's mother. She called my sister to complain that Rowan was abandoning his daughter when she needed support the most. My sister explained the situation and told her that Rowan had never been informed about Ursula's previous accusations. Ursula's mother became defensive and claimed that the incident with the teacher had been a misunderstanding. My sister asked why she hadn't warned Rowan about Ursula's tendency to make false accusations. Her mother said she had hoped it was just a phase she would grow out of, and admitted she should have been more honest with Rowan before sending her to live with him. The conversation between my sister and Ursula's mother became tense. Ursula's mother accused our family of being cruel and lacking compassion toward a troubled teenager. My sister replied that Ursula's lies could have destroyed my husband's career and our marriage. The call ended with both of them hanging up upset. Today, Rowan and my sister have been attending couples counseling. Rowan feels guilty for bringing Ursula into our family without knowing her full history. My sister feels frustrated for defending Ursula for so long without knowing the truth. The counselor has helped Rowan understand that he can maintain a relationship with Ursula while still protecting his marriage and stepson, and that it's also wise to seek help for her. My parents still plan to keep Ursula away from our family, but they hope she can get help for her issues, or rather, that her parents will get her the help she needs. My husband and I have been focused on our own plans and goals. We made an offer on a 3-bedroom house with a larger yard. My husband received a promotion at work, which will help us handle the new mortgage. We are excited to start fresh in a new place. In fact, this situation has brought our extended family closer together. Axel spends more time with my parents now that Ursula is gone. Rowan has become more involved in family activities and seems more relaxed. My sister and I have started meeting for coffee once a week to catch up without talking about Ursula. Several people have asked if I plan to give her another chance in the future. The answer is no. She has a history of using serious lies to manipulate situations and gain attention. I don't want to be anywhere near her, but I do hope she gets help, both for her sake and for the sake of others. As for the questions about suing her that some people have raised, the truth is, there is no basis for it. Her lie has had no legal consequences for any of us, so pursuing that path would make no sense. It is her parents who need to take responsibility for her and get her professional help, especially now that she has started at another school and will need to learn that lying is wrong. But Rowan didn't care, because everything that had happened was due to her own actions, not because of favoritism. Ursula threatened to tell people that Rowan was a bad father who didn't care about his daughter's well-being, but her father told her he had documentation of her pattern of behavior and that it wouldn't be hard to prove it. The call ended with Ursula hanging up. She hasn't called him since, although Rowan still sends monthly financial support to her mother for Ursula's expenses, especially for her therapy sessions. Rowan and my sister successfully completed their couples counseling, and their marriage has grown stronger from the experience. My husband received another promotion at work, we've settled into our new home, and we are expecting our first child this fall. We're excited to become parents and grateful that we don't have to worry about exposing our child to Ursula's toxic behavior. Update 4. Well, I have quite an update on my hands. I hope it's understandable enough with everything I have to share. If it comes across a little disorganized, it's because the situation itself is pretty chaotic. I think I'll start with the less interesting part, personal news, and then move on to Ursula. My husband and I have become parents, and everyone, including my parents, my husband's family, my sister, and Rowan, is very happy. A little joy after everything that has happened with Ursula. Ursula is now in a juvenile correctional facility after being sent there by a judge as a result of her latest false accusation. If you remember, Rowan had been paying for her therapy. She attended because her father would call every week before sending the payments for the sessions, to confirm she was actually going and that he wasn't paying for fake appointments or ones she skipped. He was also in communication with Ursula's mother, who was responsible for taking her to the sessions. Needless to say, Ursula considered these sessions unnecessary, according to her, because she had already learned her lesson, something she repeated constantly, even though she would then go on to lie again and eventually get expelled from somewhere. At that point, she wasn't attending any in-person school, since she had been doing online classes after her last expulsion. Then she came up with the idea to file a police report, claiming that her psychologist had tried to convince her that having an inappropriate relationship with an older woman was acceptable. And this is where everything got complicated. Even though the psychologist was accused, she could not break her professional oath or reveal what had been discussed in the sessions in order to defend herself, something Ursula likely knew and decided to take advantage of. This makes it even more disturbing, because before, she was just an unbelievable liar. Now, she seems to be evolving, planning her lies more carefully. This led both her mother and Rowan to testify against their own daughter, and the judge decided to send her to a juvenile correctional facility. She will have to remain there at least until she turns 18. After that, she could either be transferred to an adult prison or be released. In either case, her parents have decided they want nothing to do with her, which is why they chose to testify against her. While Ursula hasn't been a problem for us for some time now, especially for my husband, I still feel relieved that she's locked up. It's an extra layer of protection for all of us.